Hello and welcome to the Cheltenham Exchange preview for the 2023 Aintree Grand National Festival. As you can see from the screen, unfortunately, Matty and OJ are unavailable this evening, which is why, unfortunately, you've got me hosting this evening because no OJ. But from the Cheltenham Exchange team, I am joined by John the Hammer and Rainman, Bossman, Conman, Mr. Ian Rayner. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Feels like it's been a while since the festival, hasn't it? So not seen your faces for a while, but nice to see you guys. And of course, we've got a fantastic guest who's agreed to join us last minute, but he has promised to give us all the winners. It is, of course, the bad boy of bold, Sizing Ruds. Scotty, thanks for coming back on the channel.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so we're going to cover all the Grade 1s for the 3 days, and we're also going to cover the Grand National. There is one Grade 1 on Saturday we're not going to cover because we don't really know who's going to run and there's no odds, so we're going to skip that one. But without further ado, we're going to go straight on to the Lotto Manifesto Novices Chase, which is the first race on Thursday, which is tomorrow for us recording. Johnny, I'm going to come straight to you because I know a horse that you're a big fan of is running in this race, Banbridge. How did you see the race going?
Yeah, easy one for me, this one, Alex. Obviously, he was pulled out last minute at the festival, wasn't he? And I was fuming. Never been so angry with that one.
Fuming.
I was. Still not sure why, because, they knew what the ground was going to be all along, so it was a bit of an odd one, that. So, I think he'll be fresh as a daisy. I do still like Stage Star, but I think he probably had quite a hard race at the festival. So I'm just going to have to stick with Banbridge, aren't I, now? I can't desert him at this late stage. I think he's got a great chance. Of the rest, I don't think there's much else in there, to be honest. Saint-Ouen ran pretty well, didn't it, at the festival to finish third, but I just think the top two in the market are probably better than him. And the other two, I can't see them getting anywhere near. So, Banbridge to start us off.
And ground currently, good to soft, isn't it? Something like that. So you imagine that'll play perfectly into his hands.
Yeah, as long as we don't get any more rain, because they might, pull him out yet again. But hopefully not this time. Otherwise, he's never going to run, is he? If we don't stick him in this.
And Scotty, I'll come to you next
for another day. Yeah. So.
Yeah, like John said, I think it's Banbridge fans will be happy that he's here. Probably the right trip for him. I just had a quick look, and there's a bit of rain due tonight and tomorrow, but I don't think it will change the ground so much. I think the race will set up for both Banbridge and St. Roy. For me, Stage Star will go off in front. It won't be hard to predict that. I just take the chance that St. Roy will improve for the extra 4 furlongs, like he did. He ran in the Arkle, didn't he, finishing a strong third? Just at the prices, I think St. Roy's the one to be on for me. I think 7-2 is a good price considering Banbridge is 13-8. I don't think there's a lot between them. It's a 3-horse race. I'd say I'd be tempted to place Stage Star just on the fact, like John said, he's had a hard race at Cheltenham. And I think the race will set up for St. Roy and Banbridge, but just at the prices, St. Roy would be who I'd side with.
Okay. And Ian, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to go against the other two, and I will go with Stage Star. I personally think it would be a carbon copy of what's happened at the Turners. I think they'll potentially give Stage Star to run in a race. Whether, as the guys have said, that the forecast, I think there is more rain due tonight and tomorrow. So whether it will go against Banbridge that way and would turn to soft, we don't know. Hopefully not, but to make it more of a race. But saying what Scotty was saying about some of the others at St. Roy, and I think Visionarian, they're stepping up to 2 mile 4. I think Visionarians run over hurdles at this distance, so that slightly put me off a bit. Not to say that they can't stay the trip, but I want to go with Stage Star, and I think he'll do back-to-back wins.
Okay, and I'm going to go with Banbridge as well. I think missing Cheltenham is going to be a big thing for him. He's going to be coming into this race fresh. I think he'll love the ground. He's not had his ground, has he, for most of the season? And his performance in the Irish Arkle's looking much better now, considering how well. The winner, who won the Arkle at Cheltenham? Mine's gone blank.
El Fabiolo,
that's the one. Yeah, it's he's certainly franked the form, hasn't he? So
already.
Yeah. That'll be my selection. We'll move on then to the second race on the Thursday, which is the 4-year-old Juvenile Hurdle. Top of the market, Zenta, who was third in the Triumph. Then we have Bo Zenith, who was one of the talking horses for the season. Nusret, who is a favourite of mine, and a few horses below that. So scriptwriter as well, 15-2. Ian, are you going to be siding with a horse that you like, Peris's Way?
I'm not. I'm actually going with your old favourite, Alex. I'm going to go with Nusret. Potentially slightly fresher. Missed Cheltenham. Believe Daryl Jacobs said about in one of his interviews beginning of March that potentially he sees Nusret more of a flat track Aintree type of horse. He did win his last race at Kempton, I think it was. So he obviously has won over here. There won't be a problem. The ground may suit as well if it does stay good to soft. Some of the others that I've just seen, they're in the race that Nusret won at Kempton, Peris's Way and Papori, scriptwriter, all in the race. So there's still got something to find, I think, on Nusret potentially. Centre will have that weight in hand, but she ran in the Triumph Hurdle. If you want to say some back form, obviously Nusret was beaten by Lossiemouth who won the Triumph Hurdle. Granted, it was way back, but you could take it with a pinch of salt. There's some form there. But I want to go with Nusret.
Okay. Big fan of that. Only thing that would concern me slightly with Nusret is that they did say that he's better going right-handed than left. I think they said at one point they were going to keep him only to right-handed tracks, but they seem pretty confident in entering him here. I think the Irish juveniles are just miles ahead of the British, aren't they? I mean, I think it was the first 9 or 10 home were all Irish trained in the Triumph this year.
I believe it was
absolutely mental. And for me, the only one I'll give a sort of shout out to that's a bigger price is a British trained one is Chaos Control, who I think is well overpriced at 22-1 and could very much sneak into one of the places. Scotty, what are your thoughts on this race?
I think, like you said, Zenta's miles ahead on the Irish form, finishing third to Gala Marceau and Lossiemouth. It's the best piece of form here by a country mile, but 11-8 is too short. I think coming again too soon after Cheltenham, I'd definitely be taking a view to an each way price, and it would be Bo Zenith. I think he's the most solid of the English horses. 2 good wins. He ran at Stratford, I think, and he won quite well during, I think it was the day before the festival, or it could have been during the festival week. I think they've obviously had an eye in this race. Haydock, he won pretty well just before the festival. Both times he's won his last 2 are on good to soft, which the going is here. Haydock, I don't think is too dissimilar from Aintree. I think the course will suit him. I think he showed a lot of guts in his Haydock win, which was really impressive. I thought he was beat, and he just seemed to battle on. I think next season he'll definitely be going up in trip, but I'd just be taking a chance on him each way. I think 6-1, it's my kind of stinky each way bet, my kind of scared bet. Nothing to knock about anything else in the race each way. I think there's plenty of options. Scriptwriter will be popular. I think he'll get backed. I also think Perseus Way's got a sniff. I just think Bo Zenith would be the one. Zenta will probably win if he reproduces his Triumph form, but just, again, be taking him on too short in such a race. Short price favourites don't really always do well in this race. So, I'd be taking him on and having a look each way on Bo Zenith.
Thank you, Scotty. And Johnny, round it up for us.
Yeah, I'm with Ian on this one, Alex. I'm going for your old favourite Nusret as well. Again, similar reasons to Ian, really. I think he'll be the fresher horse. I'm not too concerned about the track. I mean, at Cheltenham, maybe with it undulating and, some quite tight turns there. Aintree's got quite a long straight, hasn't it? So I don't think it'll be much of an issue here running at this track. I think Zenta will, run the race, run a decent race, but it was a pretty hard race to triumph. So maybe that's taken a lot out of her a little bit. Bo Zenith was the other one I did make a note of, as well, as Scotty sort of said then as well. I think he'll go well. Perseus Way still on my radar, but probably for a handicap next season now. For that one. So Nusret for me with the old barrel on.
Excellent. Thank you, Johnny. We'll move on then to the Aintree Bowl, which is the third race actually on the Thursday. So three Grade 1s in a row so far. We have just had the news that Brave Man's Game's not going to be running in the race. Been pulled out because of, well, some financial issues potentially. I'm sure more will come to light over the coming days, but it's due to it was after an intervention from the FCA, which, I mean, that can never be a good thing, really, can it? So it remains to be seen what happens there. But now at the top of the market, Ian, a Hendo horse, which I'm sure you'll be happy to hear, Shishkin. What are your thoughts?
Well, tough one. I'm not going to go with Shishkin. I think I'll probably potentially going to go with Johnny if I can read his mind. I'm still Shishkin. Really, it's hard because he's put me off so much, and then he ran really well at Ascot and then Cheltenham and didn't even really pick up his feet, but he ran on really well. But my selection is going to be a Hoy Senior. Granted, the fall at the Gold Cup wasn't the best prep, but he was running really well until I think he fell at the 17th, and I think he was leading. But his form at Aintree is superb. He's won the Sefton in 21, and he won this race last year. Who, funny enough, in my notes I got here, beat Brave Man's Game. To say Brave Man's Game record at Aintree is poor, but he's not running here anyway. I was saying about Shishkin, he jumped quite badly, but he ran on strongly. It's his first one at 3 miles, I think, since his point-to-point races, which are back in 2018. That's just something. I've made some notes in regards to Plutard has pulled up twice in his last 2 starts. That's a bit of a black mark for me. Conflated, I think, could be the threat. Ran really well into third in the Gold Cup, especially with the late jockey change as well. But I'm going to go with Johnny's favourite, Ahoy Senior.
Johnny will be very surprised to hear this, but I'm also going to join you on Ahoy Senior. I think you've got to be absolutely mental to back up Plutard, considering he's pulled up in his last 2 runs. And it's hard really to know what you're going to get from Shishkin. First time over 3 miles. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Hoy Senior as well. Scotty, what are your thoughts?
Ian's just said something I was going to say, and you've just said something I was going to say as well, and that's you'd have to be mad to back up Plutard, and Ian's said it with the 2 pulled ups, and at 5-2, it's just ridiculous if you back that. And Shishkin, again, 3 miles the first time, he's not guaranteed to stay. I don't think he jumps great. I think this race won't suit him. I think they're going to go fast. The Hoy Senior is going to obviously make a good pace. He's obviously good. He's got to be the better in the race, really, a Hoy Senior, just on his entry form. 2 really impressive Grade 1 wins in 2 seasons over hurdles, and last year in the Novice Chase. I think he ran an absolute blinder in the Gold Cup. I think he would have gone close to being in the frame if he stood up. I don't think he was beat at the time. I think he just obviously got in too close. Hoy Senior has to be the bet, and my old friend Conflated, I can't believe he's 6-1. He should be close to favourite in this race, I think. On his 3 mile form this season, obviously going back from that extra 2.5 furlongs, I think this will be right up his street, this race, and I think it's between the 2. I'd just say a Hoy Senior on the course form, and Conflated. I think that's the forecast. I think it'll be a good forecast.
Mm-hmm. And John, are you going to put another vote in for a Hoy Senior? You're obviously a massive fan.
I certainly am. The guys have pretty much said everything I was going to say again, really. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I've championed him all season. And he was running a belting race in the Gold Cup, wasn't he, till he tipped up. He could well have finished in the places in that. I just think he likes the track, as has been mentioned. And I think he's a great bet in this, to be perfectly honest with you. He'll definitely be going in me win Trixie on the day.
Excellent. Thank you. And Scotty, we'll move on then to the 3:30, which is the Aintree Hurdle, Grade 1 race. Can you see anything beating Constitution Hill, or do you think are we looking just to find something to finish second to him?
I'm not even going to bother wasting time, apart from just saying I'm excited to see Sharjah going up in trip at last. I've been praying for this to happen for some time, and I think it's a year too late. He likes the small fields. I think he'll finish second, and that is all I'm going to say. Let's just watch and enjoy.
Ian?
Yeah, probably echo what Scotty was saying. Ante-Post really disappointed me in the Mares Hurdle, and she's 9 now. So I wonder if she's obviously coming to the twilight of her career. It wouldn't really surprise me if this could be potentially one of her last races. But yeah, I can't see much else to say. You got I Like to Move It and Zanna here, who's run it this trip before, not performed that well recently. But yeah, I'll probably go with what Scotty said. Go with Sharjah and Constitution Hill as the forecast, but otherwise just watching win again.
I'm going to out-hendo you here, and I'm going to go for the Hendo 1-2. I'm going for Constitution Hill to win and Ante-Post second. I think her performance in the Mares Hurdle was too bad to be her true running at this stage. And there were rumours that came out, and there was a lot of talk, wasn't there, that there was a bug in Hendo's yard at the festival. So I think she was probably one of those horses affected, because there's no way she'd have performed the way. I mean, if she was beaten 10 lengths into third or into fourth or something, then you could see it. But I mean, she was miles behind. That wasn't a true running. So yeah, I'm going to take a chance she'll bounce back from that and finish second. Johnny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just to mix up a little bit, I think Zanna here, my old buddy, for second in this one. Obviously, Constitution Hill's going to hack up, isn't he? It's probably how many lengths he'll do it by. I hope he does put on a really good performance and bolt up, just to see his RPR and his rating go up. That would be good, wouldn't it, if he could absolutely bolt up over a different distance. But yeah, of the rest, they're all a much now, aren't they? And this is kind of an afterthought probably for a few of them. So, yeah, Zanna here. I'll take Zanna here for second.
Thank you, Johnny. Okay, that wraps up day one then of the races that we're going to be covering for Aintree. Each of you then, if I could just ask, of those 4 horses that you've put up, which would you say your nap is?
I'll go with Ahoy Senor.
Ian.
Yeah, you can't pick it now, Johnny. You've got to pick something else.
I can change.
No, you've locked it in.
Locked in.
Who's your nap?
Banbridge.
Okay. And Scotty?
St. Roy.
St. Roy. Excellent. I won't put a one because I don't want to. And I'm the host, so I make my own rules. Okay.
Did Matty put up Stage Star as well?
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did, yeah.
Excellent. Right, we'll move
Better
on.
Mention it, otherwise he'll only cry.
He'll kick off.
He will kick off.
He'll only cry if you didn't mention it.
Yeah. First race on the Friday then is the Mildmay Novices Chase, headed in the market by Jerry Colomb, even price, even money. Next you have Bronze 7-2, a horse called Complete Unknown at 6-1, and then a few horses below that, including Thomas Darby, who I'm sure Matty is very keen on. Massive fan of Thomas Darby is Matty. Scotty, how do you see this race working out?
I just think it's an absolutely terrible race. Bron the second. Sorry, yeah. Bron the second favourite.
You really feel?
No, it just annoys me that Jerry Colomb didn't win at Cheltenham. All of us 25-1 Ante-Post. We're going to get absolute lock and load. He will not get beat this time. Davy Russell on board. No mistakes this time. They'll ride him a bit more forward. Bron finishing 4.5 lengths behind him in the RSA. He's got to win, Jerry Colomb. The ground doesn't bother me. I think he's got to win. He's going to win. Forgive him for Cheltenham. He'll win.
Okay. Ian?
Yeah, same for me. I was a bit gutted as well. So a bit of pocket talk with Jerry Colomb was beaten, but I could see him do it this time. I know Bron was a big price that day, and was it 40 or 50 to 1 and ran on for third. I think the only other one I looked at was that Galia de la Toe, but he was well beaten, about 16 lengths behind Jerry Colomb and the real whacker. So he's got a lot to find on some of these. So I think, yeah, with Davey on board, I don't think he's ridden Jerry Colomb before, but with the other guys injured, I wonder if he'll do his old Davey tactics and hold right at the back. Obviously, we'll know he'll stay the distance to 3 mile and go from the end out the second last or the last out. But yeah, so Jerry Colomb for me to do the biz.
I'm also going to side with Jerry Cologne. Johnny, are you going to make it 4 out of 4?
Well, I was looking forward to seeing Journey with Me finally over 3 miles, and they go and bloody pull him out again. I don't know what they do with that horse at all. So I don't really care after that. It's a no bet race. I agree with Scott. It's a stinking race. Don't like it. So Jerry will probably win. Yeah.
I was going to say same owners Journey with Me, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
I think Punchestown they're probably save him for. I reckon, but.
Are you fuming, Johnny?
I'm fuming.
Seething.
Okay. Well, we'll move on from that before Johnny has a meltdown. And we'll move on to the third race at Aintree, which is the Aintree Bowl. No, it's not. I've skipped something. It's the Poundland Top Novices Hurdle. So I went back a day. Grade 1. Currently headed in the market by Founder 50. In the pockets in there. Lucia, obviously a Hando horse for you, Ian. Are you getting stuck back in?
I'm not. She really disappointed me. I know obviously this time she's going to get the weight and she'll get 11 stone. But I'm just, she really disappointed me. I know says I'm deserting her, but this might be crazy as well. But I'm going to take a punt on Timorous. Was 10th in the Supreme, but I'm willing to forgive the run. I think Nichols said he was outpaced. So my thinking is potentially, Nichols loves a flat track. So I think it could suit Timorous a bit better. Maybe a step up in trip after this race as well. Ground won't be an issue. Looking at the Tolworth as well, I think there's a couple of them that have come out and kind of franked the form. I think it was the Me and Lion and Authorised Speed, Blow Your Wad have all come out and won next time out. I think in the pocket could be the threat, but I think he could do with a bit more rain. Found the 50. I'm surprised he's the favourite. I can't see really how he justifies favouritism. I know he was beaten by Corbett's Cross, who looked to be a contender in the Albert Bartlett. But the only thing I could see is that he beat Parmenion, who's the Donnelly horse for Mullins, and he's no really great shapes at all. But that really surprised me. But I'm going to take a punt on Timorous.
Excellent. Johnny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I'm going to actually go against what I said earlier now about the freshness of a horse. So I'm going to give Lucia another chance in this. There's been a few words to say that she didn't have the best prep before Cheltenham. And, she didn't run her best there, obviously. I think she's a lot better than that. But getting the weight here, I just think this race will probably be better run, to suit her, to be honest. So I'm going to forgive her the poor run at Cheltenham, or poor-ish run at Cheltenham. And hopefully Nicky's got a spot on for this one. I don't really like a lot of the other ones, to be perfectly honest. Like Ian said, there's a couple in there that, found a 50. I'm surprised he's 7-2, and a couple of the others down. I'm not a great fan of Timorous either after his run, to be perfectly honest with you. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with Lucia.
Okay. I'm going to go for a horse that actually beat Ian's selection in the Supreme. I'm going to stick with Strong Leader. I think he'd be better suited to the flatter track. He actually finished 9th in the Supreme, and Strong Leader was 10th. Ian was 10th. So I think he's going to continue that streak of being ahead of him. And I think at 16-1, he's a really nice each way price. I mean, you can get 4 places in some of the places at the moment, can't you? So, I'm happy to get stuck in at 16s. Scotty?
Yeah, I'm going to take a chance on a Nichols horse. I'm not a big fan of Timorous on the ground. I think he needs it quite deep. I'm going to go for Rubo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Again, second to rare edition. I think at Christmas, 7 lengths, has improved on his next few runs. Really good winner of the Dovecot. That was a grade 2 at Kempton. Just slight concern about going left-handed. Don't know how good he is. I just think at the prices he was quite decent, and I think he's a pretty good jumper. He's 16-1. Out of the 2 Nichols horses, I think Timorous is pretty exposed now. I know he won that grade 1, but I don't think it was a great grade 1, the Tolworth. But I'm again with John. It would be hard to ignore Lucia at the prices. I think 9-2. I think you'd be mad to kind of just not have like a tenner on her just for sake, because she could be one of them. She could be not as good as we think she potentially was going to be, or she could just bolt up, and you'd say to yourself, why did I not back her? So I think a small win on Lucia and Rubo each way. I think that would be my main look into the race. Again, like John said, I don't really like Founder 50 or In the Pocket. I think the Irish form's a bit hit and miss in the short to mid distance, apart from the obvious like Marine Nationale, Facile Vega. I think they all are pretty hard to work out this year. So yeah, Rubo each way and just a small stab on Lucia just in case she goes and wins it in good style.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So that wraps up then the 255, the previous race. And we will now move on to the Melling Chase, which, I mean, I've looked through this race and I can't get any of these horses right. So it's not a race I particularly like. Johnny, who do you think wins this one?
I'm going to stick with my old favourite, Fakir Dudery, to be honest with you. He was under par last time out, and that is a slight concern, to be fair. But I think he'll be primed for this. Obviously, he won the race last year, so they're basically asking him to do what he's already done before, aren't they, really? If you look through the others, a lot of the others aren't really Grade 1 animals in my book. A lot of them are Grade 2 animals. Now, Fakir is probably at his best in a Grade 2, but at least he's got Grade 1 form and he has won some. So, like I say, with him doing it before, I just think he just needs to turn up and do what he did last year, and hopefully he'll take the beating in this. I'm sure Joe's will have him spot on for this race as well.
Okay. Scotty?
Yeah, again, it's a Grade 2 contest with a Grade 1 title, isn't it? Just like John said. I mean, Miller's Bank on last year's Novice Chase form's got a chance at 10. See, I think he's an Aintree kind of horse. I like him. French Dynamite, a good fourth in the Ryanair. I think he's definitely better on better ground. But the horse I've been waiting for all season just to unload on, and I was praying he was going to turn up, is Pic Dory. I'm just a massive fan of the horse. I tipped him for the Ryanair just in case Allaho never turned up, but then obviously he got blown away by Shishkin, and I don't think they fancy running him again against Shishkin. So Pic Dory will probably win, but just at the prices, I think French Dynamite coupled with Miller's Bank each way, you're only going to get 2 places. I think one of them will hit the frame out of the 2. If I was really having a good go each way, I'd probably say French Dynamite. I think he's more classy than Miller's Bank, but pretty tricky one to get stuck into. I don't think Fakir Dudery would win again. I think 3 years in a row to win this race, you've got to be a special horse to win it twice. It's not a special race, but I just think it's a year too far for Fakir Dudery, especially after his Ascot run. So French Dynamite just each way at the prices, but not a strong opinion.
How about you, Ian? Have you got a strong opinion on this one? I saw you
have.
when Johnny said Fakir.
I'm joining Johnny with Fakir. Most of it is down to his form, his cracking form. I think he's won this race last 2 years. I can see him doing it again, to be honest. I know he was third against Shishkin at Ascot in February, but again, I think, as John said, it wasn't really his true running. I know Pic Dory was second and ran well. Fakir, don't think it was beaten by Galimba de Jump at Punchestown in December, and I think he won at Furless in January. I think Hitman's in the race. Fakir beat Hitman by 5.5 lengths last year, so I'm not so sure about Hitman in this race. Pic Dory has won Class 1 or Grade 1 races, but if I wanted to be picky and crab it, has he beaten much? Maybe not, but he's still won the races. But yeah, I'm probably going to go purely on Fakir Dudery. One I will have a look at is the horse I backed in the plate. It's called Fugitive for Richard Hobson. I think Sean Bowen's on board. Done quite well with the distance and on the ground as well. I think it was beaten by Seddon at the festival by a couple of lengths. So he could be one at 10-1. That could be the first or second if you do a reverse forecast. But yeah, I'll go with Fakir.
Okay. I think if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably look at French Dynamite each way. I think he's probably better on better ground. Looking through his form historically, and I don't think he's actually run any bad races this season. I think he's been pretty solid. So I think if you can get a few places, that's where I'd probably be looking to have a bet for me. But like Scotty said, there's no real strong fancies at all in this one. Okay, and we will move on to the final race that we're going to be covering for the Friday, which is the Sefton Novices Hurdle, the 3-mile hurdle. Top of the market, Stay Away Fair, the winner of the Albert Bartlett. Second in the market, Absolute Notions, who was supposed to be going to the festival, but seemed to miss the engagement, obviously. And then a few horses behind that, so Rocco, who won the Martin Pipe. Scotty, how do you see this one going?
It's a tricky one to work out, to be honest. I think Stay Away Faye is probably just the right favourite, just on that Cheltenham win. But then you've got the horse that beat Stay Away Faye, and that was Maximilian, who won the River Don. So you'd have to look at that just from a form perspective and give Maximilian a chance. I mean, Doncaster's a totally different track, isn't it, to Aintree? So you can't really buy into that totally. But Absolute Notions has got a couple of entries. I do like him. I'm not sure if he's going to run. Iroko, the Martin Pipe winner, you'd have to give him respect. But again, it's another step up in trip. But the one I've landed on, and I've got probably one of my stronger fancies of the whole meeting, is a horse trained by Dan Skelton, who won the Ballymore, I think it's the Leamington Novices Hurdle at Warwick by 5 lengths, and that's Grey Dawning. Won its last 3, been slowly going about its business this season. Definitely an improver. I think we could be looking at Stayers Hurdle horse this time next year. I mean, obviously, Dan Skelton targets the handicaps. I think long-term target's a crazy shout, but I'll be looking at the Fixed Brush Hurdle. I'm looking all the way to November at Haydock on Betfair Chase Day. I'll be looking at that horse for that. So, but I just think 12-1 again. It's a massive price each way. Grey Dawning definitely for me, and Maximilian is the other one I'm interested in. Obviously, Brian Hughes, Donald McCain, Aintree, you got that factor in there. Won a Grade 2. They be the 2 for me, but Grey Dawning's a big price. Definitely worth an each way punt.
Thank you, Scotty. Ian, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to go with Stay Away Faye. So won the Albert Bartlett, and I think the 3-mile advantage over most of these. I think some of them, like Absolute Notions and Iroko, are yet to run over 3 miles. So I think he might just have the edge on that. Granted, he did obviously won the Albert Bartlett, as he may not be as fresh as some of the others. I'm willing to take that chance. There is one that caught my eye. Apple Away for Lucinda Russell. I think you can get around 12-1. Won a Class 1 last time out in Doncaster in early March, and before that, what impressed me, I know it was a Class 4, so he's a bit of a step up, but he won at Ayr and was carrying 12 stone that day. Also, and at the distance as well, 3 miles. So that caught my eye. So potentially could go with Apple Away each way, but I'm going to stick with Stay Away Faye to do it again.
And Johnny, wrap it up for us.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Stay Away Faye, and I thought that was a brilliant performance to win the Albert Bartlett. But that race is a proper grueling race, and that would just put me off him a little bit for this. He's definitely one that I'll be following next season without a doubt, because, you know, I was like, mentioned it really early in the season to you lot on the WhatsApp, and yeah, I've liked him all year, to be fair. But I'm going to go with the Elliott horse, Absolute Notions, in this one. Again, I just think the freshness angle, the step up in trip as well, I think will suit him. And I just think that they've just kept him back because, like you say, he could have gone over to the festival. He didn't rock up there. I just think maybe this has been the target. So I'm going to go with Absolute Notions for this one.
Thank you, Johnny. Okay, so that wraps up the Friday then of the Aintree
I've got one
Festival.
other.
Oh, you got one other?
Oh.
Just a little Brucey bonus. I quite fancy, now Jamie will go mad when I say this, but I quite fancy Al Dancer in the 405 race. He won the Sefton off a lower weight back in December. Not been seen since. I just think he's been kept back for this on that weight, and it'd be a good each way bet for me in that race.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's the Topham, isn't it, that one?
Yeah, is that going to be your bet of the day, your nap of the day?
each way and up of the day.
Excellent.
I'll dance at 4:05.
Oh, Kilteely Briggs is in that race as well. Oh, Kilteely Pigs.
What's your nap of the day then, Ian?
I will go with. I'll go with Stay Away Faye.
Okay. And Scotty?
Jerry Colom's the banker of the day, but my strongest fancy is Grey Dawning.
Grey Dawning, okay.
I like the Grey Dawning shout better.
We'll move on to the Saturday then. As mentioned before, we're not actually going to cover the first grade one on the Saturday, the Mag or Novices Chase. Looking through the entries, I mean, it could only be John Bon and Solo that are going to run in this. And I mean, none of the bookies have it priced up either. So we're just going to skip past it because we make our own rules and we do what we want. So yeah, we're going to skip that one. And we're going to go through to the Turner's Mersey Novices Hurdle. Top of the market is Hermes Allen. In there as well, you've got Dark Raven in the pocket. You wear it well. Scotty, how do you see this one?
Oh, Hermes Allen. Oh, he's a heartbreaker, isn't he? I'm so mad about him from Cheltenham. I think Aintree will be a real good chance for him to redeem himself. But there's a horse who I've been a massive fan of all season, and I was kicking myself last day for not backing him. I think it was the one before, and he was real impressive. And that was at Ascot. And that's Springwell Bay for John Joe O'Neill. He's another big price. I'm going to be definitely unloading a few big multiples with Grey Dawning, Springwell Bay, French Dynamite for the week. I think he's 4 out of 5 the season over hurdles, and the only race he lost was at Cheltenham in November. I think it was Fenner's Cross that beat him, if I remember rightly. Again, another typical John Joe kind of horse, novice hurdler, aims for the Aintree Festival more often than Cheltenham nowadays. I just love everything about this horse. I think he's definitely going to be a good chaser next season. Just again, from a price perspective and having a little bit of more freshness than some of his rivals, he'd be the one that I'd be with, definitely. But like I said, Hermes Allen, you've got to forgive him he ran into an absolute monster in Pere Pass who blew everybody away in the Ballymore. And Gaelic Warrior, Champ Kylie, they're definitely horses to keep on side. Good Land was in 4th that race. There's nothing to be ashamed of losing to those horses at Cheltenham. But definitely Springwell Bay will run his race here, and he will be in the frame. He'll be in the first 3. So at 12s, he's my each way fancy for the race.
Excellent. Johnny?
Yeah, I think that's a good shout actually by Scott. He's one that I'll definitely be covering. It's a little bit difficult, this, isn't it, with the declarations not being made yet. So there's a ruck of horses there. Some are going elsewhere, as we've, the likes of Absolute Notions for a start, and there's a couple of others I think have been declared. I'm going to go back to one that I quite liked earlier in the season. Then he ran a stinker at Sandown in the race that Tamoris won. I think the ground was a bit worse than I thought actually that day, and that's Authorised Speed for the Moors. Now the Moors are in obviously blinding form at the minute, aren't they? They can't seem to get a loser. Never mind, anything else. I just think he's already proven over the distance when he won back in November, and then he dropped back down to 2 miles, but now he's stepping back up again. So I just think he'll have a really good chance in this. I'm not sure on prices because I can't seem to find any, but Authorised Speed for me in this.
Okay. And Ian?
Well, I'm torn, Alex. I'm going to talk about 2. I did like Hermes Allen. Obviously, we'll probably prefer the flatter track. And I was reading about his performance in the Ballymore, and why they said it was so poor. Nichols was saying it was due to the soft ground. He was calling it tacky ground. Now, with the rain forecast, obviously it could change from. I know we're going looking to Saturday already. Now, if it's like shitty weather and the ground is again, is that going to be the same sort of thing? Is it going to be soft, tacky ground again? And will it suit Hermes Allen? I don't know. If that's the case, the other one I looked at potentially, another Irish rider called Irish Point. It's good. Obviously, it's got some fairly good runs behind Marine Nationale. I think at Ferry House in December, over 2 mile 4. I think beaten by Champ Kylie.
Mm.
And I think he was well beaten at the DRF, but that was again over 2 miles. But I think he will register step up in trip. So if the ground's that bit softer, a bit shittier, if you want to call it that, potentially would go Irish Point. But that's a technical term. But yeah, but I do like Hermes Allen. I think he's better than a lot of these. I know it's not very original, but yeah, so I'm torn, Alex. I'm torn. I know it doesn't help everybody, but that's where I'm at in a minute.
Okay. I'm going to go with a horse that I've been backing all season, and I think I might be his biggest fan. It's got to be Crambo. He just does his best work at the end. I mean, he's 20-1, which is an outrageous price. I know he raced against Hermes Allen in that shallow hurdle, but since then he's had a wind up and he's won his next two starts over hurdles. Most recently, he ran, I think it was the Saturday before the festival, and he won at quite a nice price for me at Sandown. He won a Grade 3 handicap hurdle, which is Class 1. Won it really, really well, to be honest. And the horse that he beat that day has actually won since as well. So I think his horse is very much on the up, and I think he'll be getting stuck in at the end, doing his best work after the back of the last, and up the Crambo, 20-1 each way. So that's me. We'll move on then to the second last race that we're looking at, which is the JRL Group Liverpool Hurdle, the Grade 1, which is the 3:35 on Saturday. Headed in the market by Marie's Rock. Next up, we have Ante-Post, Flooring Porter, Champ, Cider Burley, Dasher Drasher, Home by the Lee, Time Hill, a lot of the old favourites. Scotty, where'd you see this one going?
You go to like Woolies when you were a kid and you put your hand in the pick and mix and you're not disappointed with whatever you pull out. It's one of them, isn't it? It's like all of my old favourites are here. God, I don't know. I just think Cider Burley wins another Grade 1. You'll never see me again. I'm saying it now. If that was that Cheltenham, how he won that race. I know some absolute wizards like Darryl Carter tipped him up at 100-1. Fair play. But just again, it's another price thing. I think Home by the Lee's got the best form in the race this year, apart from that Cider Burley win. He's 8-1. If he reproduces his Christmas runs and he's running the Liz Mullen hurdle, he's definitely got a chance. It's interesting that they've kept Champ fresh for this race instead of going to the Stairs hurdle. He's obviously won a Grade 1 novice here. He won the 3-mile race a few seasons ago. But just from the class perspective, I mean, Marie's Rock disappointed me at Cheltenham. I thought she was better than that. But again, like Johnny said, there could have been a bug in the Hendo yard. I just don't know. But Ante-Post is probably the class 1 here. I think he was unlucky at Cheltenham. He'd probably be the safest bet at 4-1. Again, just going back to the outsiders in the race, the meet and greet's interesting as well. Brewing Up a Storm always seems to be aimed at this race and never seems to perform up to what people think he is. Time Hill, I can't have. He's too old now, and I think he didn't run well in this race last year. I know Ian likes Time Hill, don't you, Ian? I think, but
yeah, I was just looking. I know he won this in 2021, but yeah.
But no, for me, Ante-Post probably just as the win, but Home by the Lee's the big each way again. Another each way bet for me at Home by the Lee.
Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just going to do the same thing as Scotty. It's such a poxy race, isn't it? It's a poxy division. It's just so hard. I really want to back Marie's Rock, but it's first time. I know Hendo's talked about stepping up in trip, but just normally I think if she would have performed so much better, I know we go back to this potentially this bargain, she would have ran that bit better in the Mersey. I would have had like a lot of confidence of her stepping up and going into this, but I haven't. I'm really not so sure. Again, it's not very original, but I think Ante-Post is going to turn it around. I think could be a factor if it rains again. It was just such a weird race, wasn't it? The Stairs Hurdle. I know what we're saying about side to Burley. Dashwood Drasher ran on really well. You can't really count him out. Home by the Lee again. We was talking about Florin Porter. I don't know. He doesn't not brought back his form that he has done in previous years. I know he normally only wins at Cheltenham, but you got Champ, who's now 11. It's just really hard. But I think if he's that class enough and he runs to his true running, I think Tahupu should win this easy.
To me, it's one of those races where you'd be happy just to go and get a beer if you were at the race, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's every race, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, even whilst the race is on, you think, "Oh, I'll skip the queues. I'll go for a beer." Yeah, I've got no real interest. Johnny?
Yeah, this division is just all over the place, isn't it? And even more so this year than previous years. It's been difficult. You just won't be surprised if any of the top 8 won, would you, in the market? But I'm going to go with one that Scotty sort of half made a case for, but didn't pick him, and that's Champ. He's got course form, hasn't he, from that Grade 1 a few years ago. And a lot of the others, this seems to be an afterthought too, because they've all flopped at Cheltenham, so they're going to get him another run. Well, it looks like he's been maybe more targeted at this race. So he's probably surprised a few of the others are going to turn up anyway. So I just think, he was 3rd in this last year, and the track does suit him. So I think he's got a good chance, to be fair, in this. I think he's a proper filthy each way. The other one that does sort of interest me a little bit is Time Hill going back over hurdles. I'm not sure whether it's interests me enough to have a bet on him, but there's a couple there, isn't there? Eldorado Allen's still in there, going back to hurdles, and what was the other one? There's one at the
Didn't
bottom
notice
as
that,
well.
funny enough.
Yeah. Monmiral going back over hurdles. There's a few there, isn't there? So I think Champ's got a good chance, to be fair, in this.
Okay. Thank you, Johnny. We'll move on then to the big one. That's the 5:15, the Randox Health Grand National Chase. I say the 5:15. It may be a bit later than that if all these rumoured protests from these animal rights groups happen. Could end up being the 5:30 Randox Health Grand National. Who knows? Ian, how do you see this race? I'll let you guys have 2 picks each for this race, for the Grand National. I'll be nice and generous. 2 picks each.
2 picks
Ian,
each.
why don't you
Okay.
start us off with pick number 1?
Right, I'll go. What should I go? I'll go with Vanillier first.
Ian,
What?
jump.
No, I think it's
He's got to jump about 80 fences.
yeah.
Jumps like Eamon Holmes, that one.
No, I don't know. It's obviously gone. It's gone the 3 miles 6 before. I think he could stay. That was one of mine. Did you want me to do my second one, and we're going to go round?
No. I want just your first.
Yeah.
Scotty, who's your first?
Oh, I had 4 written down, but okay.
Oof.
You can only have 2.
Right, you're going to work this out as I'm explaining it, and you'll probably get it. So,
Okay.
when you go to high school and you see this girl and she follows you around, and you're just like, just leave me alone. And you see her again in a nightclub 2 years later, and you think, no. Then 5 years later, you see her and you start warming up to her. And then eventually, about another year later, you think, you're actually all right, Gaillard de Menil.
Oh, no.
I just think, honestly, the National Hunt Chase, he was just out there. He was hunting away. He was probably just done for towing that race. I think Marla Mission had them at it, and Chemical Energy, quicker horses. I think this will be right up his street. He's going to jump. He's going to stay. He's not going to come down. He has definitely got a big chance. And if the view I take on the National is to have a quid each way, if I had my biggest bet in the National ever, which I won't because I don't have the ammunition and all the balls anymore, he would be an absolute each way certainty to be in the top 7, whatever they pay. He can win the race. He will run in the Gold Cup next year. But for me, he is the most likely winner of the race this year, and still a backable price at 14s.
Okay. Strong case made there for a horse that you called a pig 3 months ago.
in our Twitter videos. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've seen a tweet of you saying he was the
Day of the
last
meeting,
for
wasn't
the
it?
festival.
Humility is a fine thing, as Michael O'Leary once said in A Human Being. You've got to admit when you're wrong sometimes.
Okay, follow that one up, Johnny.
Well, I absolutely love that, Scotty. Obviously, I will be backing him, but I haven't made him a selection here because we don't want to double up, do we? So, yeah, my first one, I'm going to stick with one that I picked last year, and that's Longhouse Poet, who was a long way back in 6th last year. He did travel really strongly through the race, probably a bit too strongly because he didn't really find at the finish. So hopefully he can switch off a little bit this year, sort of hide him amongst horses. I think he's a good age for this. I think he's 9. It's only his 10th chase start, so he's relatively fresh. He's had a few spins over hurdles this season to try and keep his mark the same as it was last year. And then he had a little chase run last month, a little spin over the fences last month. So I think he's a decent each way bet in this. And again, a bit like Scotty there, I can't see him out the first 6 or 7.
Excellent. So my first one, I'm going to go with a horse I put up before for something. I'm going to go with Gabby's Cross. Currently number 32. He would be running with a weight of 10 stone 2. I think he's got an absolute massive engine, but the big question mark is if he's going to jump well. If he jumps well, I can't see him out of the first 3 or 4. If he doesn't jump well, he probably won't finish. But I mean, that's why he's 50 to 1, and I'm happy to take a chance at a bigger price. So Gabby's Cross for me. Ian, who's your number 2?
Right. I'll just say, because Matty's asked me, this horse is on my list as well, but he specifically asked us to mention this Ava's Oscar. I think she ran in was it the Welsh National? And comes 2nd or 3rd, I think, to Kitty's Light, I think it was. So he just wanted us to mention she's on my list. But my next one, it's not going to be very original, I'm afraid, but it's last year's winner and it's Noble Yates. What surprised me, how far back he was in the Gold Cup and really ran on for 4th. Just showed how much of a strong stayer he is. I know he's going to be 11-11, but I think 9 to 1. I think if you want to go a dirty each way, I just think he could potentially do a Tiger Roll and do it again. But yeah, Noble Yates would be my second pick.
Okay, Scotty.
It's so hard because I want to mention a couple more, but
You only got one more.
I know. Okay. I'm not going to mention Durasso, but I'd have to say that the big dog.
It's a nasty cough you got there.
Yeah, the big dog. He's the most solid other one. He's almost like a Grade 1 horse, I think, now. He was running really well in that Grade 1. I think it was at Christmas when he was jumping.
Irish Gold Cup.
It was the Gold Cup, yeah. And he would have been in the frame there. He's proven over these big trips now. I definitely think he's going to be one that will be there at the end if he gets round. Similar kind of horse to Gaillard de Menil, will just hunt away, jump the fences. Not really a lot else to say. I think he's a class horse in the race. He's quite high in the weights, but he'd definitely be the other one I'd be interested in for sure, the big dog.
Excellent. Johnny?
Yeah, my other one's even more lightly raced than Longhouse Poet, and that is Ain't That a Shame for Henry. I think he's only had 7 spins over fences. He won a decent beginner's chase last month, and he can still run off the 146. I think he's better than that, to be perfectly honest. I made a note here to say if Rachel gets the ride, I can see that one going off a lot shorter. And I've noticed that she has got the ride as well. I've just looked now. So that's another positive for me, obviously, with winning it a couple of years ago. So she knows her way around here. I just think he's a decent price still at like 22s, I think, with Bet365. 20s. So, yeah, Ain't That a Shame's my other pick. I think he's got a big pot in him. I've sort of followed him since the start of his career, really. I think he's got a big prize in him. So, hopefully it's this one.
Tied in with the big dog as well. If you look at previous form, I think it was let's have a look what we've got here. A Limerick, the big dog, won, and Ain't That a Shame was second. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, if you like one, you like the other.
And I'm going to put up a favourite horse of mine, the Korak Rambler. Not very inspired one because he's favourite, but I put him up the last 2 years for the Ultima. I think the further he goes, the better he is. I think he'll jump, he'll stay. They just can't hit the front too soon with him, and just got to get some luck in running, don't you? But a price of 7-1. Happy to have one at a short price and one at a big price. Okay, guys. So best bets for the Saturday then, Johnny.
I'm going to go 8 and a shame each way in the national.
Scotty.
Springwell Bay each way in the Novice Hurdle.
Ian.
I will go Tihupu in the Liverpool Hurdle.
Excellent. Right, that then wraps up our Aintree Grand National Festival preview for 2023. Thanks to Scotty for joining us, and thanks to Ian and Johnny for coming on. Please feel free to go and follow Scotty on Twitter. You can see his Twitter handle there at Sizing Ruds, the Bad Boy Bowls. Best of luck to everybody that has any bets or follows any of our tips. Please remember to like if you've enjoyed the video. Please remember to hit that subscribe button as well. You don't know how much it really helps, because it really does. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, best of luck with your bets. Let's make some money off those bookies, and good luck. Thanks all for joining.